Well, welcome everyone. I see it's actually a minute past our time to start. So there's two things I want to do today. One, to draw on the fact that we are together, to have mutual support in a meditation, which I feel I need because of the shock I feel over the actions of our US government in the last week, cutting off food aid to millions of people. And, that's on top of everything else that's been going on. And if you're like me, maybe you could use a meditation that will help with that. The second thing I want to do is to highlight some ways that have been shared with me recently about ways that we can support each other and support others in the world who need our help, and to act out of something that I read last night. It's something that Peg said during the intensive last February, which I was actually editing into a piece for her book last night. But Peg quoted Stephen Batchelor saying that morality is an ethical or moral orientation. So she was talking about morality in terms of the Bodhisattva vow, in terms of the paramitas. But she quotes Stephen Batchelor as saying that morality is an ethical or moral orientation that's not based in rules, but is, quote, an energetic cherishing of what we regard as good. So energetic and cherishing. The Buddha, Peg said, described the precepts as pristine gifts. When one refrains from harming another, one gives others a gift of fearlessness. And by acting to benefit others, we are benefiting ourselves, of course. We are changing the world one action at a time. She said, I love the way that the Buddha described the precepts and the paramitas of the paramita of morality as a gift we give each other. These are enactments of the quality of care, which is appamada. So, with that in mind, Ed, if you would ring a bell, and I'm going to give some prompts related to meditation, the traditional way we say it at appamada, with a couple of additions. I want to ask you, before the bell rings, to sit up in such a way that if you're breathing, you're not breathing from the chest up. I do this a lot. And, that my shoulders will kind of go up and down a little bit as I breathe in and breathe out. But rather to do it so that your trunk is high enough so that when you breathe in, your belly expands. And when you breathe out, that it contracts from the area around your navel, your hara, as they say in Japanese. This makes a difference. It makes a difference in the kind of ability to move into a heart space, into a more full embodiment. And I'm going to ask also that when you breathe with each breath, that you actually consider what you can do to breathe out longer than you breathe in. I'm sure many of you are very familiar with a practice like this, but it's one that I have to remember to do. Breathe out longer because that engages your parasympathetic nervous system, which has a healing and integrating effect. So. Please feel your whole body as you breathe. Please feel the miraculous action that is taking place, the gift from more than 1 billion years of living ancestors, all connecting with our environment, all taking in what we need to live from moment to moment. That action is giving you life, moment to moment, connects you with this whole world. And for yourself, hold yourself here and think, may this body be at ease. Say to yourself, may this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this body and mind awaken with all beings. If you're like me, you may have a part that feels overwhelmed by the events we're living through. Let that part come forward and then say the meta phrases again. This part that lives in your body and your mind, and that is a valuable part of making you aware of energetic care, energetic cherishing of what we regard as good. Offer comfort to it and say, may this body be at ease. May this heart be open. May this mind be boundless. May this body and mind awaken with all beings. Traditionally, a metta meditation begins to expand outward, starting with people that we care the most about, and that we offer them the same wish, series of wishes. So for those you care for, to whom you are close, say, may this body be at ease as you breathe in, and give them an extra long exhale. As you attune with them. May your heart be open. May your mind be boundless. May we awaken together. Traditionally, in this type of meditation, which can unfold over many days, we we move our thoughts outward to those to whom we are less connected, less knowledgeable about, less uh, engaged with. And we expand to the kind of island's edge of our ignorance, and we try and engage beyond that ignorance, for the same care. So with such beings in mind, please offer this thought. May your body be at peace. May your mind be boundless. May your heart be open. May we and all beings awaken together. And then, often in metta meditation, we expand to people with whom we are in conflict. It could be someone close to us in conflict, or it could be someone very remote, like a government official deciding to cut off food aid to 40 million people. And we hold them in our thoughts, say, may your body be at ease. Breathing in deeply and letting go fully of our breath. May your heart be open. May your mind be boundless. May we awaken together. So, I want to share. Ed is going to, first of all, Ed, thank you for being monitor today. Thank you for all you do for all the connections throughout Appamada's sanghas that you share and that you support through your actions. Ed's going to share a some information on screen in just a moment, but I wanted to talk about actions that people within our sanghas are taking to reach out to others and to uh, provide support that actually makes a difference. So Ed, I know that you are a member, a longtime member of a group that's been active in the Austin Appamada Sangha for many years. called Buddhist Action Now. And would you just, um, and if there's anybody else active in Buddhist Action Now that after Ed speaks would like to add to what he has to say, I'd sure love to hear it. So Ed, if you would talk about Buddhist Action Now.
Thanks, Joel. It's one of those really nice things that the name really says what it is. It's about action. It's about what we do when we get off the cushion and how we do things with the perspective of what we understand as Buddhism, how our knowledge, our practice, our living of the paramitas and the precepts affect what we do in our daily life, with ourselves as well as with anyone and everything else that we deal with. We look at educating ourselves and preparing ourselves for how we interact with other people in terms of discrimination, for providing a background and an understanding of that from a Buddhist perspective, how to engage that way. And it's discrimination in all ways. Like Joel was saying, that people are being discriminated against with food. I mean, you have to have food to stay alive. Why would you discriminate against keeping people alive? And it deals with all the other various textures of bizarre human behavior, whether it's racial discrimination or gender or whatever. And it creates in us a way to actually live and understand the paramitas and to put those into actionable practice, and how all the other things that we do also can bring attention to the world through our art, whether it's poetry or painting or whatever. And it is a way of living the things that we have as our Buddhist foundation.
Thank you. Anyone else active in Buddhist Action Now that would want to add anything? I'm not seeing any hands at this time.
Wait, here,
Oh, I'm sorry, Julia Benini. No, she's
no,
just,
she just came into the room.
I'm sorry, mistake. So Ed, would you share the link that I shared with you earlier about Madison Donna?
There we go.
There we go. Okay, so this is the Open Door Zen Community Bulletin Board page, and it has a brief description of a group that's been formed recently. I heard about this last week for the first time from Kim Nushel and from Suzanne, the in the Open Door Zen Sangha, and talking about actions that they are taking. But I'm just going to read this in case it's too small to see. It says Madison Donna, and that Donna is an acronym for something, but I can't remember what. If you are interested in joining other Sanghas from the Madison area in participating in radical Dharma, i.e., being part of a peaceful, strong resistance movement, there is a group that is formed called Madison Donna. All are welcome, and you can join here. And there's a link tree, which I will put into the chat later. It says, this is a place to learn about what we can each do to protect the most vulnerable members of our community, to get up-to-date information about what is happening legislatively in our state, and to support actions that protect our democracy. It has become a community of people who support each other in love, kindness, and appreciation. This was actually an idea that was brought forward from two members of a Vipassana Sangha that reached out to members of the Zen community in Madison. Links to wonderful Dharma talks are often posted, and all members of our Sangha are welcome. So I wanted to share that. And I wonder, does anybody have any questions about Madison Dana or experience with it? Unfortunately, neither Kim nor Suzanne could be here today. And I'm not seeing anybody else raising a hand at this time.
Mm,
So Ed, would you then post the link to uh, Serenity Fernandez's Substack that I shared with you before. So Serenity is known to many members of the Sangha. That's her on the left, and that's her partner Chris on the right. And so, as you may know about Serenity, she is a nomad, a boondocker. She lives in a RV and travels from place to place around the country. She spends most of the winters in Quartzsite, Arizona, on Bureau of Land Management land. There's a website for that. The Bureau of Land Management welcomes people to stay in campsites on their on the land that they manage. You have to buy a permit, and the permit costs $180 for, I believe, 6 or 7 months for a long-term stay in campsites that are in Arizona and Nevada and California. And depending on the weather conditions, uh, Serenity and others will move among those sites at various times. So what this is actually an appeal, uh, which is linked down further in the posting. I'm sorry, but I want to read out loud my partner Chris P. and I are reaching out and filling needs of other homeless nomads here in Quartzsite. First, there was the man whose shelter and belongings needed rebar stakes to keep them from blowing across the desert. Next, a couple needed a mat to sleep on, and we knew of someone who had one. Now we are preparing meals to feed the insecure nomads, many of whom are elderly, who arrive daily, poorly equipped to survive the wind, heat, and coming cold weather. It is the least we can do. Jeff was the first nomad for whom we provided assistance. So this is the description of them becoming aware of him. We were in the middle of a massive windstorm. This is when we hop in the car and begin looking for newcomers with collapsed tents or flyaway belongings. Folks new to camping are unaware of the strength of the wind. The stakes provided with tents are totally inadequate. It only took minutes to find the first tent, totally flipped upside down. I approached the car, but the owner was not nearby. We did see the tiny stakes. We went into town to buy rebar stakes, pardon me, 6 of them, 14 inches long, with your contributions. We returned to the BLM land in the upside down tent. This time we met the owner, Jeff. Last season, he had lived in his van. The tent was new. With the wind still gusting, we agreed to return in the morning and set things right. He was delighted to receive your gift of 6 rebar stakes. Tomorrow, we will go to our storage unit to get ratchet straps. And then the original post, from time to time, you, my friends, have asked how you can help the folks that have been able to flee the cities and the cold and drive to the desert. It's becoming clear that we will be inundated with newcomers this year for a couple of reasons. First, an anticipated rate increase. There had been an announcement that the permit for the long-term stay was going to go up from $180 to $600. That did not happen. So first, the rate increase was delayed. And second, some states and many cities have criminalized sleeping in vehicles. I know this is happening with a big push in the state of Utah. We who consistently come to Quartzsite area have never seen such an influx of mostly elderly people arriving this early in the season. When you have asked to help In prior seasons, I've encouraged you to donate to your local community because building your community is a priority. However, if you already support your own community and you still have funds to donate, I will give you a pathway to do so. Each year we have pleas for transportation to the food bank, or requests from tent dwellers needing ice or needing the help to make the 40-mile drive to medical care. I have the privilege this year of using a small car that takes much less gas than my van. That means that a donation of $5 to $10 can make a difference. It's be greatly appreciated. I'm also a volunteer at the permit booth. That is the booth that people come to when they first arrive at the campsite at Quartzsite. And as a volunteer, she says, I'm more familiar with the needs of the car and tent dwellers. Understand that I will meet the needs here without donations. I can, however, meet more needs with your help. I appreciate your consideration. So let's see, does this go on further down to, there's another post which is from Chris. I'm going to just read this out loud. It's not linked in the site that Ed has access to. And it says, here's some good news. I and Serenity, both long-term vehicle dwellers, are in Quartzsite, Arizona. We both work in one of the Bureau of Land Management permit booths. We see things. This season, we have seen a large increase of people living in vehicles, that is cars and trucks. Yes, this has been happening for years, but now there is a desperation related to the increasing numbers of cities that are making sleeping in one's own vehicle a crime. Many of the cars are broken down. Many of the owners are broken in too many ways to list. They can't easily get into the tiny stores in Quartzsite. The food bank is inadequate for people who don't have refrigeration, and it's dangerous to cook in a packed car. So the good news is that Serenity is an excellent cook. After canvassing our neighbors, she and I have started to cook and deliver home-cooked meals. We intended to feed 8 folks a day. Today, we intended to feed 8 folks. It became 16 meals. We started with meals once a week. We hope we can grow that to twice a week. The need is probably 25 times that, and this is just in our area. We are funded by old friends and new friends with a bit of money to spare. Feel free to look at my Facebook page to assure yourself that this program is real. Then consider sending us some help. She attaches her Venmo link. Now, I'm not going to do that here, but it may be possible that we can do that through the Madison Donna page or through Buddhist Action Now. So I just wanted to share that with you and to show the ways in which members of our Sangha have found ways to help. I know that there are many others. Rosemarie has spoken about facilitating gosh, Rosemarie, now the name of the group has jumped out of my head. Can you say it if you can unmute? One more time, unmute.
Braver Angels.
Braver Angels, right. And Rosemarie, at what level are you stepping up to be a coordinator for Braver Angels? What level?
I'm just starting off with them, getting some training in organizing a meeting. So someone
Okay.
else will be moderating, but I'm going to schedule it, put advertising out, get the group together and help
Right.
out.
But is that in Fort Lee or is it statewide?
Well, it's nationwide, but there's not much going on in my community, and that's why I'm getting involved to
Okay,
try
very
and get
good.
something going here. Thank you.
Well, and if you're not familiar with Braver Angels, it's a very important effort to heal the political divide by bringing people together. And I salute that. So, any questions about what I shared so far? I'm going to switch so I can see the everybody together. Okay, so it's a little bit after the top of the hour. I want to ask if you would just go back into a self-supporting state for about 3 minutes and let your body be at ease and your mind open, boundless, and your heart open. And think of how you can support awakening together in whatever way will best serve you and your community. And I'm going to ask if people will come forward and share what they are already doing, which would be an inspiration to me to hear, and maybe an inspiration to others to hear, or what they consider they might be able to do. So let's come together at 10 minutes after the hour and just take some notes up to that point. I'll go first. I'm going to just offer a list of things. I'm going to start with something that I'm doing. I volunteer at a food bank in Albuquerque. My wife and I went together for the first time yesterday, and we spent 2 hours with about 15 other volunteers, and we packed up about 1.5 tons of cucumbers into uh, bags for distribution at food distribution points all over the state of New Mexico. Next week it may be onions. Everybody hates onions. They get all over you. Or bread, or canned goods, or other types of vegetables. Um, there's a large percentage of the population that is in the state of New Mexico that is food insecure. And so I support the group financially in a small way and try and give my time. Um, it's I actually spent most of my time writing about something that I kind of forgot, but that I do spend time uh, meeting with other people at Appamata, facilitating meetings and being there for meetings like this, where we can offer mutual support to each other. For me, it is when I feel most vulnerable. It's very important for me to see the compassion with which I am met by other people, and to know that that spreads every day that I take part, and that it has shaped me very profoundly, and that this is something that is very profound that we routinely offer each other and don't value, at least in my case. I almost kind of forgot about it, which shows that I don't value it highly enough. Something I plan to do in the future is to learn more about what they're doing with Medicine Donna, particularly in reaching out to political figures and at the state and national level in ways that can be effective as well as compassionate. And I want to study the Buddhist Peace Fellowship, which has been going for generations, in which I am woefully ignorant about. And I'm sure that there are so many lessons available online or through participants that I can use my time effectively to learn So that's what I have to offer from my reflection. I welcome any other comments. Kathy, welcome.
Hi, I appreciate the time that we're spending today looking at this. It's really important. There's a leader, a pathfinder really, in Madison. His name is Dr. G, and he started a church. I think it's called the Fountain of Life Church, and also a program called Nehemiah that has numerous outreach services, too many to mention. But at one point he said he was tired of hearing particularly white people, he's African American, asking, what can I do? And now he has a three word message. He said you can educate, which is part of what we're doing today. We can affiliate, which is what I think Madison Dana offers, and we can donate. And he says particularly donate to organizations run by people of color, because people don't see them as legitimate a lot of times. And so they don't get the donations that they need. So I want to just say a little bit about the education part, because I volunteer at Head Start. That's one of the things I do. Once a week, I go to Head Start. I get to support the teachers and the kids 3, 4, and 5 years of age. And I was appalled the other night. I watched the NewsHour, the PBS NewsHour, when they said that Head Start funding is also threatened with this SNAP funding, and that's horrible. So, that's I'm just putting that out there so that people know that, because that would be a good postcard campaign for legislators not to jeopardize the care and health of the little ones. Head Start also, by the way, starts with offering care for children as young as 6 weeks. It's called Early Head Start. And so people really depend on it for food and as childcare, so people can go to work. The other thing I just learned about this because I missed the Madison Donna meeting, but in the whole state of Wisconsin, there's 12 attorneys to represent immigrants who are going through the legal system to try to get their legal rights recognized. Only 12. And one of the things that Madison Donna, people at Open Door, they're planning a house party where they need a big enough house or a space where they can invite enough people to raise money there's an organization, and I'm sorry, I don't have the name of it, in Dane County of attorneys who will represent immigrants. And so that's an example of one of the things that this coalition of Buddhist groups are working on. And then finally, the donate piece, which is, there's major food banks in the area, and it's time to donate additionally to them. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Can I ask you some questions?
Please.
So in volunteering with Head Start, what do you do when you go?
Oh, so my background is in early childhood education. I trained early child care providers for 31 years, and I worked in child care centers before that. So I work like a teacher. I do what needs to be done. It's, I love what Flint uses the term improvisational virtuosity, and that's what I do. Depends on what's needed at the moment. I'm like a teacher in the classroom.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's now I have a clearer picture in my head, which is helpful to me for moving forward. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bridget, welcome.
Thank you. This was a very healing experience because I was able to let some tears leak out of my eyes just by being in everyone's presence. It just seems helpful to be able to let go of all this grief and sadness I'm holding inside for everyone who's being so deeply impacted by this. An organization that I had learned about and have been, I get periodic things from them, and they give and suggest specific action items, and they have very quick links to your elected officials and whether or not they are in your, follow your line of thinking or not. They do say how important it is to let these people know our people, that our voices, because we are supposed to be a country that is a government of its people. And so it's called americansofconscience.com. And more recently, they have added some classes on it's a group of classes starting soon. But I have found it very helpful so I don't feel so helpless. And then it allows me to quickly, it's faster than going to the link of your senator or congressman or representatives, etc., because it gives you a quick link and then you go right to the thing, or you can call. I also have, since his election, I've called the White House. They now have it such that the presidential phone line, you can't go directly and leave a message for the president, but they do have a comments line, and that is 202-455-1111. And then there's the switchboard where they're supposed to switch you to someone. It's 202-456-6213. And they'll tell you the main phone number, if you look it up online, is 202-456-7041. But calls are not routed to a specific person. So I just wanted you to know about that. Prior to the most recent things, there used to be some specific hours you could leave comments, but I don't know, I'm hoping the comments line is still open, but when I called before, it was, you had to call during specific hours. Generally, the White House is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And they do encourage emails. So that's another thing. I'm just, I haven't been doing that so much because I feel it's more frustrating, but this Americans of Conscience has been helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Rosemarie.
Hi. Another a group that I have been aware of is called Lasagna Love. And it's what you do if you like to cook. This group will hook you up with a food insecure family in the area. And you make your lasagna and you deliver it to them. I've done it quite a few times, and I've just bought some more lasagna pans because I think this is a good time to resume cooking and offering. And people are so grateful, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to offer it. So it's another avenue. And when you sign up, you can say how frequently you'd like to be matched, and you can take time off if you need to. So it's very flexible. So it's another thing to think about. Thank you.
Say the name again.
Oh, it's lasagnalove.org.
Do you know if they are national?
Oh, yes. Yeah. In fact, when I began with them a few years ago, it's like, well, where are the families in my county? It was really hard to find them. And we did. But now I just looked on the website, and you can, and I was aware through other friends of particular families that really needed help, but there was kind of no way to match them up. Now there is. If you know of someone in the area, you can nominate them also.
Mm,
So you can be matched, or you can request for another family
mm.
specifically. So yeah. So yes, it's definitely nationwide.
Um, Thank you. I want to mention another group that I have supported in the past and still support financially. It's called Saranam, which most people here will recognize as refuge from the refuges that we say in Pali. It's saranam.org. They have a website, and it is a organization in Albuquerque that provides housing for up to 2 years for families with children uh, who have been living on the streets. They provide housing, they provide um, household furnishings and cooking material, cooking pots and so on. They provide training appropriate to the level of the adults so that they can get certifications and uh, be able to work better than they can. They provide daycare for the youngsters and transportation to school for the children, etc. And it's very localized. They can only help, I think, 40 families a year. That's twice as much as they were doing 2 years ago when I started. It's a funny name because it was started by members of a Methodist church here in Albuquerque, and I've never tracked down who came up with the name Saranam, but they are at saranam.org if anyone wants to investigate that. Kathy, when you were talking about um, going to volunteer with Head Start, one of the things I did as a volunteer was go weekly for a couple of hours for a kind of family time they had that was facilitated by a trained facilitator teacher for a big mix of kids from teenage to preschool. It was very chaotic. And I've, you know, I felt like I was just standing around and not accomplishing a thing. But the coordinator said, just your presence makes a difference. So I'm going to start doing that again. Ed, I see your hand. You're muted if you're speaking.
Okay, now I think I'm speaking.
Yes.
Okay. Wow, this is weird. I can't add my video, but oh, there it is. Uh, it's harder to do myself than anyone else. Joel, thank you for highlighting what is very, very important and really does hold what we have as foundations, again, from a Buddhist standpoint. And I know Flint talks about it all the time, which is attention and intention. And all of these types of things hold both of those things true. And we actually get to see the tangible results of what we do. And Kathy, you mentioned Head Start. My first paying job as a teenager was when Head Start first started. And my mom was a teacher, so she was the first teacher in our area to do that. And I got paid to be an assistant. And I was 12 years old, so I had to get working papers. But here we are. Head Start is so important. And it also brought to mind something which we've talked about a lot in our Zen writing and in Buddhist Action Now, which is that it's a James Baldwin quote. And he's been a very pivotal figure in terms of knowledge and perspective and everything, his writings throughout my life. And he said, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. And having that as a foundation for moving forward, for attention and intention, that's the thing. So I just wanted to share that and say that. And thank you again, Joel, for what you brought forward today.
Thank you. I want to acknowledge too that the mutual support that happens within Appamada, I know that there are people here who are helping their neighbors, helping family members, helping other members of the Sangha who are facing health crises, who are facing intense um, upheaval with family members whom they love. And the members of our community are very active in supporting each other. And that again, it should not be discounted. And I know that Becky is living in a community where people are aging and where people have serious health problems, and that she is carrying the Dharma forward in her absolutely unique way and connecting with people as best she can. And I, that this is the work of a lifetime that she's doing. So I just want to acknowledge all the ways in which I know that is taking place. There are some I can't speak to in any more detail than that, but they are in my heart. And I hope that everybody who hears this knows that there is this community of care that really is Appamada in action. So, thank you. Let us say the 4 practice principles. Caught in the self-centered dream, only suffering. Holding to self-centered thoughts, exactly the dream. Each moment, life as it is, the only teacher. Being just this moment, compassion's way. Thank you.
Thank you all. And I just want to remind everybody that Appamada's programs, facilities are supported using the Dana Generosity model. So as you can, please do. You can go to appamada.org/contribute. And we're going to hang around for another 29 minutes. So please put yourself into gallery mode and stay on if you'd like. And thanks again, Joel.
And Ed, I'm going to stay on just for a minute. I saw in a note Darcy put in that saranam.org is not found. So I'm going to find the right link and put it in chat.
Okay.